And there's a bigger difference between men who are making $1 million and men who are making billions of dollars. And that difference is their mindset. But those high achievers, those guys who are making hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars, understand that 90% of your success has to do with your mindset. And if you don't know how to control your thoughts, if you don't know how to control those voices in your head, eventually they're going to sabotage your business, your marriage, and your health. So today, I want you to watch this video with me. It's Joe Rogan interviewing David Goggins. And David Goggins is talking about how do you create that mental toughness, that mindset that makes you unstoppable, and how you could use it for your business and for your life. Let's begin.
I fell on my ass. I thought I got to the top of Mount Everest, and Mount Everest just fucking slide right underneath me, man. I was like, God, dog, I got to start from scratch again. Scratch became my friend, literally, man. So, you know, that's how you put in the book, man. Just going up, going down, going up, just a real raw version of how my life was. It was so in-depth to go back through your life with a fine-tooth comb that I almost got embarrassed to even put it out there to people.
Yeah.
That's what you don't understand, man.
One of the first things that I want you to understand is that winners will always have challenges. People who succeed, they have failures in the past. You know, we have this illusion that we see these people who made it all the way to the top, whether it's in business, whether it's in life, and then we think like, man, they're so lucky. They have it all. But the reality is that they just overcame more challenges than you and I. So what he's saying that he wrote this book, and in his book, he talks about all the failures that he went through, all the challenges he had to overcome. So being obese, being picked on as a kid, all these challenges that most people are afraid to even share with their closest friends. But the moment that you get real and raw about your insecurities, the moment that you realize like, man, we all have our shit to deal with, then that gives you the opportunity for you to see that you know different than other people. And if you could look at all your insecurities, if you could look at all the things that you're afraid of, then you could help other people see that it's never as bad as they think. So I believe that as a high achiever, as a leader, your job is to expose your insecurities, to expose your weaknesses, and turn them into strengths. Because at the end of the day, that's how you build that mental toughness. Getting real and raw with yourself, not hiding, not masking. And then once you reveal those weaknesses, you reveal those insecurities, then you could actually begin to do the work.
Even me right now to talk to you, I'm in the car for a fucking hour getting pumped up because I'm a shy, introverted, leave me alone type of guy. Like, I'm still that motherfucker who is 6 years old, you know, at a play who can't say his line because I know I'm going to stutter in front of 5 people. So I walk off the stage. That's still me. So every day I'm fighting that dude. So people think, oh my God, man, you're on a podcast, you look so crazy, so evil. No, I'm trying to be locked into Joe. So my mind isn't veer off saying, let's run out the damn door because people are watching me on the fucking podcast. I want to open this damn door and get the hell out of here, man. So that's the real me.
I love it. I love it because most people understand that you have to prime yourself to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And one of the biggest fears that people have is speaking in public. And that was one of my fears. Man, I came to this country and English was my second language. It's still now, English is my second language. And I had to learn how to speak English. I had to learn how to write. I had to learn how to present. And my biggest fear was being in front of the class because I didn't know the language. And people were laughing at me. But I had to overcome that fear little by little by training my mind, training myself to actually just realize that I'm doing the best that I can. And the moment that you start training your mind to become better and better, and repetition creates mastery, you realize that it's never as bad as you think. Because most people have the same insecurities as you do. Most people have that little voice in their head. No matter who you are, you're always judging yourself and you're always putting yourself down. So by him saying like, man, even at my level, even at, having a podcast, being in front of Joe Rogan, he was afraid of being in the podcast. He was afraid of being in public. But he has to talk himself out of that fear and put himself in an uncomfortable situation so he could actually bring value into the world.
So I'm not sadistic, man. I'm focused on what I have to do to stay locked into the game of life. And that's what I tell people, man. I go there. I go there.
That's one of the reasons why this book is so good, is because you're so honest about your vulnerabilities and how you overcome them. And for people that see someone who's a beast, who's done great things, you just assume that they're different than you.
Right.
But then you hear about your insecurities and your pitfalls and all the things that went wrong with you, and you realize, well, God damn it, those are the same things that go wrong with me. Like, maybe I have that inside of me and I've just never summoned it.
Right.
And that's the key. If you are looking to create an impact and connect with people, you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta share your weaknesses. At the bootcamp experiences, when I bring guys through a 3.5-day bootcamp, we talk about all the shit that they're afraid to talk about with other people. And then once they realize that, man, other people have it worse than them or it's never as bad as they think, then they know that that doesn't hold any power over them. And so when I started doing this type of work, I was also afraid of being judged. I didn't want to share my insecurities. I didn't want to share my weaknesses. One of my first videos that I did, it was like, Raul with the edge. I had my suit on, I had my glasses on, and I wanted to pretend that everything was fine. And that video didn't do anything, didn't make no impact. But when I started making videos about my depression, my darkness, drinking every single day, a half a bottle of tequila, the moment that I started sharing my deepest and darkest moments, that's the moment that people connected with me. That's the moment that men trusted me. Because if you're not vulnerable, then people cannot trust you. So if you want to create that mental toughness, you have to understand you have to be vulnerable first with other people in order for you to create some rapport, to create that connection. But you have to know that you're not alone. That at the end of the day, the moment that you share your pain, it stops having power over you. And that's the key of having that mental capacity for you to overcome your challenges is don't give those thoughts any power. Don't give them more power than they need to, because at the end of the day, all those negative thoughts, all the insecurities, somebody out there has it worse than you. And guess what? And somebody out there that has it worse than you figures shit out and is winning in life. So what's your fucking excuse? So that's what I tell myself every single day in order for me to break through that negative talk that constantly wants to sabotage my life.
I'll tell you this. I started really realizing that when I started overcoming myself, I started getting around these real alpha males, these hard men. And I always put people way above me when I was growing up. Like, my God, they had to have a lot more than me to get to where they're at. And a lot of them did. But once you get around the best of the best of the best people, you can kind of start breaking them down and realizing, man, you're just as fucked up as me. Like we all have, but all you did was you hit it better. Your upbringing, your mom and dad, your society, the way you were raised, it hit it better than mine. You weren't the only black kid, or there was like 5 in a school. I can't hide. Going through buds, I was the only black kid. You can't hide. But I started realizing just because I look different than you, a lot of you motherfuckers can't hide either. So it started giving me courage through watching people that we all have a story. We all have a jacked up life in one way or another. Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it, though.
I love it. I love it because at the end of the day, like I said, we all have stories that we tell ourselves. One of the things that I talk about is that doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how much accolades you have. At the end of the day, we're all men, we're all humans, and you have to be around men who want to be real. That's what changed for me. At one point is like I stopped getting around people who were fake. I stopped getting around people that were just transactional. My background's in the real estate business, so real estate is very transactional. Real estate is very fake. They just want to do business with you and they don't want to build that relationship with you. So part of what I chose to do once I started getting into personal development is to get around people who were real, have real connections, real relationships. The more you get around with men who are real, the more that you stop hiding. Because at the end, the reason that we hide is because we want to pretend that everything is fine. But the moment that you have a real and raw conversation with another man, then you feel comfortable. Then you realize that it's all about stories. You have your story, I have my story, they have their story. It's not a competition about whose story is the worst. It's about how can we use our story to benefit other people to succeed in life.
Some of us don't have the guts to talk about it, though. And that's where I found the guts to talk about mine.
Well, there's purity in physical pursuits, right? Because it doesn't matter what your social status is. It doesn't matter how people perceive you. When it comes down to how long can you stay in that pool, when it comes down to how far can you run, right, when it comes down to how much can you push yourself past the part where you want to quit, right, how far can you keep going? There's a purity in that it dissolves social order, all that bullshit, what people think about you goes out the window. It's who are you right now?
That's right.
Who are you right now?
When I did an event with some trainers about 8 years ago, I went to this boot camp, and I wasn't the fittest guy. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the biggest. And the trainer put us in a circle, and they started to challenge us to see who's going to give up first doing a plank. Now remember, I've never done a plank in my life. So I got into a plank position, and the trainer says, okay, we're going to see who the bitch is. And I remember, I don't want to be the bitch. I don't want to be the first one. And as long as I'm not the first one going down, I'll be good, right? So we were on the beach, and all I did is I just meditated. I kind of took my head somewhere, and I heard one guy go down, the guy next to me. So I said, good, I'm not the bitch. The guy's down. So now I could stay. But then a part of me said, no, you still have more. Come on, Raul, keep on going. So I just closed my eyes again, took a deep breath in, and then all of a sudden there was only 2 guys left out of the whole group. It was me and another badass CrossFit tattoo motherfucker. He was like looking at me like raging. So there's a part of me that said, okay, Raul, it's enough. It's good enough. Second place is good enough. Come on, just let him go. But there's another part of me that says, no, motherfucker, you keep on going. You keep on going and you go through it. And then at that moment, I just closed my eyes again. I just started to meditate, and that guy went down. And the trainer says, 10 minutes, 10-minute plank. I've never done a plank in my life. And at that moment, I did a 10-minute plank. So the trainer said, okay, is that all you got? Part of me wanted to give up. Said, yeah, that's good. I won. But the other part says, no, Raul, you keep on fucking going. You keep on pushing. And then I wanted to quiet that voice in my head, and I put sand in my mouth. And I started grabbing the sand and grinding the sand in with my teeth because I wanted to quiet the noise. I know it sounds crazy. But see, that's the part of craziness that you have to go to in order for you to push through your limits. And at that moment, I did a 22-minute plank. What I've learned is that the moment that you get out of your body, the moment that you push your body to the limits, you actually find out who the fuck you are. There's no money that could save you. There is no accolades. There's no education. It's who you are at the moment of pain when you're pushing yourself through physical activity.
That's a true statement, man. And I look at it as psychological warfare. And that's where I started learning that life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so fucked up. It was so wrong. It was so misguided. And other people start to write that dialogue for you also. And it starts to be what you say to yourself every single day. And I started creating a whole nother warfare. A whole nother battle started becoming. I was like, oh, hang on a second, Goggins. You have these tools. You have these tools. Your life was basically the perfect grounds for training for where you need to go in your life. All the beatings, all the bullying, all the, you going through learning disabilities, all the struggles. It was the absolute perfect training ground for you to go to where you need to go. And that's how I started looking at my life versus woe is me, poopy pants, kick a rock down the street mentality. It was, God just hooked you right the fuck up. He hooked you right up, man, with the perfect place. You were training for the first 18, 19, 20, you were training for this stuff, man. You have the advantage of everybody else versus, my God, they're so above me. They came from a great family. Mom and dad love them. They didn't have to learn, they didn't stutter, they didn't struggle. No, man, your struggle is what made you who you are now. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind.
Love it, because that's what we need to make sure that we're constantly reprogramming our subconscious mind. See, there's 80% of thoughts that go through your mind every single day. And 90% of those thoughts are negative thoughts. So there's no reason why you feel positive every single day. There's no reason why you wake up every single morning happy. No, because your mind wants to take you to a place of darkness. Your mind wants to take you to a place of pain. If you don't learn how to turn that pain into fucking fuel, eventually the mind is going to win. That's why when I went through my struggle, when I went through my pain, I had to go through the same thing that he went through, which is, how do I turn my story around? How do I stop being the victim of my circumstances and become the creator of my reality? How do I become the creator of my reality? Well, I focus on what's working in my life versus what I don't have in my life. And then I start looking at what's my self-talk? What am I saying to myself every single day? What am I saying to myself every single moment? Am I affirming my failures? Or am I affirming my success? And what I did is I created what I call power statements. And every single morning, I focus on 4 things. Number 1 is gratitude. Gratitude for what I have and gratitude for the opportunity that God has given me. The second thing is I create power statements. I talk to myself. For about 2-3 minutes, I anchor the power statements that I want to believe in, that reprogram my subconscious mind. And then my third stage is I go into my darkness. I go into fear. I go into the insecurities. And through breath work, I anchor those moments that I'm afraid of so I could go through it and break through them. And then the last process is I visualize, what am I going to do for the day? What's my outcome for the day? What does God want me to do today? And that's how I'm able to every single day reprogram my subconscious mind. It's a process that I call the ritual. If you want to download my app, it's edge100app.com. You download the app and there's a training there that helps you Dial in your morning ritual, a morning routine that will help you reprogram your subconscious mind. So that's how I'm able to learn how to master those thoughts. In order for me not to have negative days or bad days. I have bad moments, but don't allow those bad moments to turn into bad days, because bad days could turn into a bad week could turn into a bad month, and a bad month could turn into a bad year. If you don't know how to master your mind eventually is going to master you. And your job as a leader is to continue to reprogram your subconscious mind, create that mental toughness that no matter what happens in your life, you know that everything you need, you already have within you. All your stories, all your negativities, all the things, all the bullshit stories that you're telling yourself, you could either use them as fuel to keep on going, or you could use them as an excuse to fail in life. But the choice is yours. You could focus on reasons, or you could focus on excuses. You could focus on results, or you could focus on all the things that you don't have in your life. But the choice is always yours.
Became literally a master of that mind. And that's what from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that.
Well, that is a big part of the stories when you go over your childhood and, your abusive father, and then having this great guy that was going to become your stepdad, and then he gets murdered. It's like right when you're about to get out of it, everything looks good. Boom, and then he gets murdered. It's like these things really did sort of set you up to start from scratch again and just go, okay, roger that. We start from scratch. Right. And now you have that attitude. You developed it through all of these horrible personal experiences, all the trials and tribulations, all the evil shit that people try to do to you. That sort of set you up to be able to deal in a way that a lot of people can't.
Well, I used to look at my life from a different vantage point. And when you're in all the muck and you're just walking in muck and walking in muck and walking in muck, you don't see that if you look off to the fucking left of the muck, there's a sidewalk, brother. Get off of it. You have your head down looking in this muck. Once I saw the sidewalk, got the sidewalk, I got a little break. And I got a different vantage point. And then from the sidewalk, I found a cliff. Then I found a mountain. I got way up high on top of my life and looked back down on it and said, okay, I got to figure this out, man. I'm not going anywhere. I'm starting to lie. So when you have a messed up foundation, I started lying about everything. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be accepted in some society of life, some social society. And I was like, man, this isn't the right way. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up here. I'm messed up everywhere. And so I realized the worst thing that happened to me is I lost myself. I never had myself. I never found myself. I had no self-esteem. So I knew through working out and through learning, because it took a lot for me to learn also, I started finding self-esteem. Once I found that, that's when doors started opening up. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me.
One of the main things as a father that you have to do for your kids is give them that self-esteem, give them that confidence. Teach them how to have a confidence. Teach them how to believe in themselves. Because at the end of the day, if you are afraid of being judged, if you are afraid of what people think, if you are afraid of what people may say, you're always going to act in order to fit in. And as a leader, you're not here to fit in. You're not here to be in a mold. Your job is to break through the mold and stand out. Your job is to make sure that every single person that comes into your life knows the authentic, real you, as opposed to the one that you pretend to be so people will like you. That's the moment that you start breaking through those negative beliefs and realize that nobody at the end gives a shit about your story. They give a shit about the results that you're bringing into your life. Your story is your own story. Your pain is your pain. So you could choose to have a story that you feel sorry for yourself. You could choose to have the pain to blame your parents, blame the economy, blame the country, blame anybody else, blame the president. Or you could choose to do something about your situation. You could choose to level up. Because the truth is that you are the fucking problem, but you are also the solution. And just like David Goggins talks about, like, you have to make sure you take ownership, that you see there's a light at the end of the tunnel, there's a sideway in front of the mud, but at the same time, stop lying to yourself and tell the fucking truth so you could actually do something about your situation. So my intention for you as you watch this video is to realize that every single person who succeeded in life had to go through shit in their life in order for them to make it. That you're not the only one who's going through a tough time. You're not going to be the first one. You're going to be the last one. And guess what? Somebody out there figured this shit out. Why not you? Why not now? It's time for you to stop making excuses and realize that we all have fucked up stories. We all have fucked up childhoods and shit that happened to us that we're afraid that other people might find out. But the moment that you own that, the moment that you're not afraid to say that to somebody else, the moment that you get real and raw with your situation, you're going to become unstoppable. You're going to have the mental toughness that very people have. Realize that 90% of your success is just being comfortable in your own skin. It's just you knowing who you are, having the self-awareness. At the same time, most people are afraid of what you think of them as well. So as you watch this video, just know that I'm rooting for you. That if you feel like you're in a dark place, that other people out there that are having worse than you. Just have some perspective, have some gratitude, because at the end, the best is yet to come. If you found value in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and comment. And most important, check out this video right here when I talk about the power of focus and how Tony Robbins and Patrick Bet-David got into a conversation that will help you see how you could focus and become a high performer. Take a look at this video now.